Good afternoon. Thanks to everybody who's joining us today for our webinar. I am based in Atlanta, Georgia at the Emory Alumni House. I'm glad to be joined here by Jacob Aqua, fairly new graduate, 2018 college graduate, who's going to give us a little bit of expertise and some practice into bringing clarity to our noisy minds through mindfulness. I'm very excited to have you all join us. This is a live webinar that's being recorded, so for any reason you need to step away from your computer or your device, the full recording will be sent within 48 hours, so feel free to listen to it again or listen wherever you need to drop off. And also, with this being live, we would love to have your questions. So feel free to type any questions in our question box, and I will ask those to Jacob at the end of his presentation. We also have a couple of questions that look like they've been submitted prior, so we'll get to those as well. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jacob Aqua. He is a wellness coach who started his company, J Aqua Wellness. He teaches others how to incorporate meditation, mindfulness, and healthy habits into their everyday life. He graduated from Emory, where he studied how individuals share meditation and mindfulness through internet technologies. He uses what he studied to share wellness techniques and knowledge through social media, phone calls, and in-person sessions. He also helps organizations incorporate wellness into their culture through different workshops. And if you're like me, we're already in November, and I feel the holiday season creeping up, and everything is getting a little chaotic. We're trying to finish out the 2019 year and get ready for holidays and all that comes with that. So this is a perfect time to bring a little mindfulness to our world. I also remind everybody to join us again on Wednesday, December the 18th at 12:30, where Jacob will be joining us again for another 30-minute session. So feel free to mark your calendars and go ahead and register. And if you can't attend live, go ahead and register and you'll get the recording. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jacob. Thanks for being here, Jacob.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me and for the warm welcome. So happy to be here. And just to get started, to kind of come into this space, come into this mindful experience, I would love to just welcome and invite everyone to start by taking 10 slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, just getting comfortable in a seated position with your eyes closed. Just really taking these slow, deep breaths and coming into your body. With each out breath, just unwinding, settling in, just noticing where you are in this moment, both physically, mentally. Without the need to judge, just noticing. With each deep breath, we take a few more before we start this webinar, just to settle in. And with your next out breath, just coming back to yourself, coming back to your computer screen, wherever you are. So awesome. I'm just going to do a little bit of an outline of what I'm going to be discussing today, how we're going to try to make this a little bit interactive. I might ask a few questions just to see what things you can think about, even though you might not be able to respond directly to me. I really want to kind of get you guys thinking about thinking critically about how you approach your everyday life so that you can kind of start to notice the ways in which we think, the ways in which our inner space operates, so that we can be more self-aware, be more clear about what's going on internally, so that we can start to make changes. We can let go of a lot of the critical mind that holds us back. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the inner voice, the critical mind, defining what meditation and mindfulness actually are, because there's a lot of, these are big buzzwords that are being thrown around very frequently. So what these actually are. Different types of meditation. We're going to do a little bit more of a full 10-minute meditation. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the results of meditation, some of the science, of meditation and mindfulness, and then how to actually incorporate these things into our lives on a small scale. So usually when I start these talks, I ask, how many of us have a mind that is often critical, that is often kind of putting us down or bringing in a sense of self-doubt? And I ask people to raise their hand. So just kind of thinking of that, if that really applies to you. And typically, when I ask this question, a majority of people that I talk to will raise their hand, will say, that's me. That's something that that happens in my life. And even for me as well, this is something that I've had to work through consistently. I'm still working through, just seeing how the negative mind, the critical mind, is very much just ingrained in us. Like our mind is a problem solving machine. And so this often digs into different problems, making it always seem that we have a problem. But something that we have to understand is that we are not our mind. We have a mind. We are beings, we are people who have a mind. So it's really understanding that our mind can be used as a tool, or it's something that can use us. And mindfulness and meditation really create a sense of space so that in between you and your mind, there's a capacity to really create a sense of peace, create a sense of space, create a sense of inner clarity so that you're not completely taken over by what's going on internally by this critical mind. And so just defining what meditation and mindfulness really are, meditation definition is when someone focuses their mind on a particular thought, object, or activity to train attention and awareness and to achieve a mentally clear and emotionally calm state. So you may think that this is pretty generic, and it is. I really believe that meditation is something that can be really applied to almost anything you do. You can be in a meditative state, in a calm and a aware, present state for many of the things you do. But for the sake of this recording for this webinar, I'm pretty much going to be talking about sitting meditation, what we typically think of when we're talking about meditation, and when people are just sitting, finding this emotionally clear state. And then mindfulness, paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. So another thing with mindfulness definition is that we already have so much going on in our mind. So if we are constantly focusing on how the quality of mind that we want to have that's going to be mindful, people often think that being mindful is going to just be exhausting. It's just another layer. It's just another thing that we're adding. But in reality, it's more of a simplification process. It's more of something that we're taking away, where it's a nourishing experience that we have so that we can really look at the mind. We can look at what we're experiencing externally or internally from a more clear and stable and rational, practical space. So it's really not exhausting. A few types of meditation are samatha, S-H-A-M-A-T-H-A, shamatha, which is more mindfulness based. It's kind of like when for other vipassana meditations that are usually more analytical, the samatha meditations are kind of like stretching. It's kind of like when before you're going to get to the higher levels of meditation, you want to make sure you're stretching yourself out. Before you're going to go into the gym and work out, you got to stretch. So it takes a bit of time to kind of get up to these more analytical meditations, things like compassion meditation, visualization, other meditations that you really are using your critical mind. You're actually thinking to apply your mind to think about things in different ways, in more healthy ways. So there are a lot of different types of meditation as well. So it's not just sitting and clearing your mind. That's often a misconception. Meditation is relating to your thoughts and emotions. At least mindfulness meditation is relating to thoughts and emotions in a different way. So it's pretty much impossible to just stop thinking completely. And I think that's what people often think, that they're bad at meditating, because obviously they're not going to be able to stop their mind from thinking completely. So understand that it's important to be gentle with yourself. It's important to know that you can't be bad at meditating. Every time that you bring your awareness back to the practice at hand, you're actually engaging in a healthy practice. So it's time actually now to practice this meditation, and we're going to do about 10 minutes, about 7 to 10 minutes, because I want to make sure we have time to get to everything and to get to some of your guys' questions. Awesome. So just starting now by getting comfortable again in a seated position. You want to make sure that your back is straight up and down. If you're sitting on a seat or a chair, just making sure that your feet are flat on the floor. If you're cross-legged on the ground, that's okay too, or even lying down. But it's usually helpful to sit upright so that you don't fall asleep, because that's something that can also happen. So just closing your eyes or keeping them slightly open, looking down at the ground, 45-degree angle. Your neck relaxed, your shoulders relaxed, your face and eyes relaxed. And just starting by taking a few slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth with a sigh. With your next out breath, just allowing your breathing to return to its natural rhythm, and if it hasn't been already, just allowing any noises that come and go to be a part of the meditation. So just noticing what you hear, either through your computer or things that you hear in the space around you. Just gently bringing your awareness to whatever you hear, allowing the noises to dissipate when they leave without judging them or labeling what they are, just noticing. And just now taking the time to notice what it simply feels like to be alive. So often we're running around throughout our days, checking off lists, thinking about the future projections, and ruminating on the past. In this moment, just noticing how it feels to be, to exist. And with each successive breath, just sinking in, settling into this feeling of existence, of being alive, of enjoying the opportunity that we have to simply be, and just doing our best to be gentle with ourselves. So if we have a very busy mind, if we get distracted, it's completely okay. It's part of the process. So just gently coming back to my voice, to the exercise, to your breath, whatever helps center you. Being gentle with yourself is just as much of meditation than anything else. Now just coming back to your breath, the inhale and exhale, the rise and fall. And just noticing each breath as it comes and goes, maybe even counting the breaths so that you can tune in to keeping up with each breath without rushing or forcing anything. So with each inhale, counting 1, each exhale, counting 2, all the way up to 10, and then starting over again. If you get distracted, just coming back to the breath and starting over with 1 again. Allowing your breath to be the anchor to the present moment, keeping you rooted and settled. And just continuing on your own for a couple of moments. Knowing that your breath is here at any time. And when you're ready, just coming back to the room that you're in, to the space that we're in, to the feeling of air touching your skin, the physical sensations of touch of your body against the chair or the floor. And just when you're ready now, gently opening your eyes. And may we dedicate this meditation to the well-being, health, and healing of all sentient beings. And may we set the intention to carry forth any insights or skills that we've gained into our everyday life. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed that. It's weird that I don't get to see how you guys feel after that. Usually we talk about some of the different things that we've noticed. So if you have any questions or anything you want to discuss, just make sure to type in the questions and we're going to get to them after the session. So just talking a little bit about the results of meditation, some of the things that meditation has done for me, and some of the things that it's done for my clients as well. It really, really helps with self-awareness. And we talk about changing the way that we interact with our inner self, the way that we even notice that there is a voice in our head, because it's so obviously there's a voice in our head, right? But we don't understand sometimes how much we identify so fully with that voice in our head being right, or like just fully believing everything that we hear in our head. And also the idea that so much of what we think and the voice in our head says is based off of something that we've gotten from something else, from someone else, from a parent, from us, from our teacher, from society. And so we have these thoughts that we think are ours, but at the same time, they're really not. And we identify so fully with them. So it really helps us be more aware of what's going on internally so that we can kind of take a step back. And it's not to say that our mind is this evil thing. Our mind is very useful. It's an incredible tool. But if we believe everything our mind is telling us, then we're going to have a major problem. It also really helps because of the ability for us to be more in tune with ourself and our body. It helps us with self-care. It helps us understand, okay, my body's feeling fatigued right now because I'm in tune with how I'm feeling. I'm aware of what's going on internally. I'm not just fully in my head rushing through my day on default mode. I'm actually aware. I'm in the present. I'm seeing what's going on internally. And so for me, I actually have bipolar. So I experience the highs and lows. Although now I'm much more, in a good place. I have medication. I have great, support system, support team. But it really helps me be super aware of what's going on internally. What are my moods? What are my fatigue levels? What are my energy levels? How can I act accordingly so that I can manage my work schedule? How can I manage all of the different factors in my life in healthier ways so that I can take care of myself? And so mindfulness is really a tool to be incredibly in tune with what you need. Obviously, there are other things, there are other factors like actually practicing and being disciplined, but it takes time. But the first step is being aware of what you need. I always say that it's a three-step process of awareness, intention, and manifestation, or action taking. So being aware of what you need, setting the intention of making a change, and actually going out and doing it. So yeah, when I actually started meditating for the first month, after about a month and a half, I felt this glaze of peace come over my life. It was like everything, all the little problems that I had are still there, but they just feel a little bit more distant. They don't feel as if they're as pressing and as just taking over my life. Like I had a little bit of space. So with that space comes the opportunity to actually deal with them in a healthier way. It also really helps with meditation, and mindfulness also really helps with impulse control. So if you're noticing when you're being triggered for, I don't know if it's an addiction or if it's just some kind of action that you shouldn't be, that you don't want to take, and there's something that's, triggering you, because you're more aware of what's coming in, the way that your thoughts, that you're thinking about something, you have just a clearer lens. You can actually start to let go of the need to actually carry forth that impulse and to actually act on that impulse. So it's really good with impulse control. And again, coming back to self-love, if you are very aware of your critical mind, you can start to cultivate a greater sense of self-love. And I think not thinking that we are worthy, being critical of ourselves is one of the core issues that I come back to with most of my clients, but I come back to some of myself. It's just such a major thing that we just don't have love for ourselves, plain and simple. And it's sad, but it's something that could be worked on, and it's something that we can actually manage and cultivate and water the right seeds. And this is actually something that during our second workshop, I'm going to be basically all talking about self-love and self-criticism. Okay, I want to make sure we have time for everything. So I'm going to talk quickly about some of the science behind meditation, neuroplasticity. Meditating consistently changes the shape of the brain to make you more empathetic, to have more attentional stability, and have more positive affect. So you have more positive emotions. When you're thinking about the stress response as well, we have the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system in our body. So the sympathetic nervous system is really associated with the stress response. So the fight, flight, or freeze response, if we were evolving in ancient times, well, we're always evolving, but in ancient times, if there was a saber-toothed tiger, we had to fight it, we had to run away, or we had to freeze and figure out what we wanted to do. And so nowadays we don't really have as many, like tigers running after us. We have stressful things that are in our life that are more associated with work, issues with relationships, or just different stressors that go on in our lives, but they're more domestic. They're more domestic problems. And what happens is we are stressed for long periods of time because these stressors don't necessarily go away, but we don't know how to deal with the stress in healthy ways. So our body is not meant to actually have stress. The stress response is meant to give us adrenaline, help us out really quickly, and then to go away. So what happens is the stress response actually, this cortisol levels break down our body in negative ways. But what the meditation and mindfulness actually do is that they trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest nervous system. So it actually slows us down, allows us to rest, to come to a state of center and peace. Wonderful. And so implementing these practices in a small capacity, I just kind of would love to ask you guys just to think up for a couple moments, what are some of the ways that you could think of implementing these ideas, or just taking a mindful moment where you just stop, notice your breath? Where are some different ways that you can kind of implement these things into your life? Where could you fit a 5-minute meditation into your day? So just starting to brainstorm into your own life, maybe writing something down if you have a pen and paper, where you can, I'll give you guys a minute or two to think about where you can really implement just mindfulness or meditation to your life. And then I'll give you guys some tips as well, of course, because I've been talking a lot, but I don't really have an audience to go back and forth with, so it's been a little interesting. So yeah, just thinking about a couple things. Cool, fair enough. So yeah, I think a really good time to practice meditation and mindfulness, they're really great walking meditation practices where anytime you walk, literally you can notice your breathing, notice the steps you're taking, have a open, empty mind, or just noticing the thoughts that do arise and let them come and go. Just relaxing, letting your body relax as you walk, walking in nature. These are all things that can be meditative. Eating mindfully, not watching something when you eat, and really chewing your food and tasting every taste, and just being really fully present when you're eating, or when you're getting in and out of your car. It's just like these little transition moments when you're opening a door, taking a breath. It's unbelievable how clearing and cleansing the breath can be. So really these small moments. And a couple more things before we finish up. It's really important to have a daily practice if you're going to start meditating. And I obviously am a proponent of meditation. So in order to really implement this on a daily basis, I highly recommend you pick a certain time in your day where you're going to be able to meditate. So for me, it's the morning, and sometimes in the afternoon, and sometimes before I go to bed. At least you don't have to meditate 3 times. You can meditate once a day for a minute or two to start out, and slowly increase if you'd like. But start small. Do it at the same time in your day. It doesn't have to be the same time, but the same point in your day. So after you eat, or after lunch, or before you're going to bed. So just having a moment. I like the morning because it helps you kind of refresh yourself and center yourself before your day. There are really cool resources. So about a minute left. There are really cool resources like certain apps that I recommend you can start with. I do recommend meeting with a community. It's great to have like a peer support system, but if you don't really have a community around you, I really recommend the app Headspace. I like the app Insight Timer if you're looking for something more free. That's always great. Calm is a really good app. So you can write all these down. So I'll say it again: Headspace, just like it sounds, Insight Timer, Calm. And then the books that I really like, if you're looking to pair the practice with theory, Two Wings of the Bird, I think the understanding the theory of meditation is essential. I highly recommend the book Search Inside Yourself. It's a really great book, Search Inside Yourself. It's about a program that was instituted at Google, a meditation and mindfulness program, and it talks all about meditation, mindfulness definitions, and how to practice and all that good stuff. And so as I conclude, if you're interested in any more of my content, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Jaqua Wellness on Instagram, Jaqua It's just J Aqua Wellness, just one word, just like it sounds, JAQUA Wellness, J dot space Aqua space Wellness on Facebook. Yeah, and also my website, jaquawellness.com. I have lots of content. I have blog posts. I have meditations. I have different programs, different web. I have what's it called, audio course. And then my number, if you're interested in reaching out for one-on-one coaching, or if anyone has in the Atlanta area has organizations that they'd like to bring a workshop into, you can just reach out to me via email or texting me or calling me at 404-490-0673. And then my email is jaquawellness@gmail.com. Wonderful. So thank you so much, guys. A minute and a half over, but I'm definitely interested in fielding any questions if there are available. Cool.
Thanks, Jacob. That was wonderful. We do have a couple of questions that have been submitted.
Cool.
One attendee asked, could you suggest a visual meditation before bedtime to help improve sleep?
A visual meditation. Could I recommend one, or do I recommend it?
What would you recommend to kind of create a visual image?
Yeah, I think before sleep, for me, the most effective meditations are lying down. They're really great. There's things called a body scan meditation. If you're really interested in visualization, there are things like nurturing moment meditations where you visualize a time where you felt very nurtured, where you felt like you just had abundance of love, or someone was taking care of you, or you're just in a great environment. So wherever you feel like you feel very content, that's a really good visualization if you really want to go the visualization route. So you visualize yourself as if you were in that place in time. But my favorite thing for sleep is body scans. So you really lie down, and the Headspace has these, Insight Timer has these, you can find these on YouTube. You can look up a sleep body scan meditation. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And what happens is you really just scan your body almost like a Xerox machine. And you just go down, you feel every part of your body, but then you actively relax each part of your body as you scan it down. So it really helps your body just let go of tension, let go of being really in your mind, and it just become really in your body. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much. We're going to include the recording with the apps and the books that you recommended, as well as your email and phone number. So for anybody who's still attending, or if you listen to this in the webinar recording, please feel free to reach out to Jacob and to utilize his recommendations for these great tools to help us find more mindfulness every day. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again Wednesday, December the 18th at 12:30. Hope you can come back for another great 30 minutes of learning to love yourself and learning exactly what that means. And with that, I'll say thank you, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and look forward to joining you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.